What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Blitz. It's week 5, man. I just can't believe it's already week 5. For those of you watching football right now, thank you for joining us. I'm sure that, like I said in the description here, it's like, yeah, this game's all right, but how many pieces do you really have in it? I mean, you might have some Cordarrelle Patterson. People with Kyle Pitts are pretty excited right now, I'm imagining. I'm loving how the Twitter universe is exploding off of that one. Oh, my God, Kyle Pitts touchdown. It's like, how many people are they got to be down before they got to finally throw it to Kyle Pitts, man? They traveled like half the team. So with me, as always, we got my man, Justin. What's happening? How we doing this morning?
Oh, I'm not doing great because I'm one of those few that that disagree with you. And I went out and picked up a whole lot of Olamide Zacchaeus this week. And so I have like at least 8 leagues that are crying right now. So I mean, I'm a whopping 0 right now.
Yeah, no, he'll see at least a couple of targets. I almost can guarantee you that, but it might not be more than like 2 for 20. I would be sad.
But hey, that's what I get for disagreeing with you.
Yep, that's what you get. And then on my left side, what's going on, Alex? How we doing this morning?
Doing pretty good. I was a big Pitts advocate, and I got him in a bunch of dynasty leagues this year. So this is nice to see him actually, hit some pay dirt, get some targets. I wish they didn't need everyone else to be down to get to him, but who expected Cordarrelle Patterson to come out of nowhere in his 9th year or 7th year in the league or whatever the hell it is?
Right, a 7th year breakout season.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I was advocating for Mike Davis this week too because I thought just with Ridley being out, and I thought maybe Patterson would slow down a little bit. Doesn't seem to be the what's actually happening. So what are you gonna do?
Hey, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say before we actually get started, I was gonna mention a quick change to Monday's schedule. I'm doing something a little different. We're not gonna do the Monday night waiver wire episode like I typically do. Coach Shepps is gonna do that Tuesday morning for the Patreon subscribers, and I'm going to be sending that out to them Tuesday morning as soon as he's done. Instead, Monday night, I'm doing a kind of a reaction video so you guys can see what it's like to watch a Colts game with me. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I've got several guests lined up that are going to pop in and out. Yep, Alex is coming on. I can't remember. Mike, did you say you're coming on?
I might try to swing by. Yeah, if it just depends on what happens. Mondays are usually nightmares, but hopefully.
My goal is to have 5 people committed, 1 for each quarter and 1 for halftime, just to give you a basic idea. And then they can, come early and stay late if they want, but at least during that block, have them committed. But one huge surprise, I'm pretty excited about one particular guest that I got locked in for the halftime show is my 11-year-old nephew. Dude is an absolute baller on the field, baseball and football, and he has been a huge supporter of the Toilets to Titles podcast since day one. So I'm excited to have him come on and do a quick little interview about what it's like to be a little stud baller at 11 years old. So it's going to be exciting to have him on the show for halftime. But yeah, so just going to be watching football with me on Monday night if anybody's interested.
Absolutely. That sounds like a good time. Just to kind of go through a few things, make sure you guys hop onto that Patreon, join Toilets to Titles. $3 a month gets you in the chat. $5 a month gets you in the chat, and then also gets you into the Frankenstein, which is a way fun league, man. It's a tough league. It's a brutal league. It is a no holds barred league. It's probably one of the more fun leagues I'm a part of, and I'm a part of a lot of crazy leagues. So you definitely want to get in on that. At $10, man, you're going to be getting just advice from us one-on-one. So hop on there, check it out. Make sure you guys give us that like and subscribe. You're going to want to get on here. You're going to want to get this advice at all times. Anytime that we're firing off, which is about 6 days a week anymore, sometimes even 7. So you guys don't want to get on that as well. And if you can, just hop onto toiletstotitles.com. Check it out. There's all kinds of videos, articles, all kinds of fun stuff, fantasy content related. Those guys do a lot of good work. They tear it up. Okay, so we can get through that, guys. Let's go ahead and start breaking down into these questions. We go ahead and pull off some of these off the Twitter. So if you're on here from the Twitter Verse, thank you so much for joining us, and we're glad that we could hopefully help you out today. It's just a lot better sometimes to see instead of just the one answer getting the whole breakdown. So we got at the HippieCon. He's following us now. He says Hunter Renfrow versus the Bears, Kareem Hunt versus the Chargers, or Antonio Brown versus the Dolphins today.
Kareem Hunt, easy peasy.
Yeah.
He's a freaking he's a top 8 running back right now. And I don't see the work getting, Baker's tore the labrum in his, non-throwing shoulder, but I'm sure that's still affecting him. And they only really have OBJ out there to throw passes to. So they're just going to pound the ground, and he has been getting tons of work. So roll with, don't overthink it, like Justin was going to say.
Torn labrum in the non-throwing shoulder and busted ego in the throwing shoulder. So definitely going to go with Hunt on this. And Alex, I saw you working with it. Yes, the stash is on point this morning. So you're good to go.
That's excellent. And I agree. I think Kareem Hunt, I always like Kareem Hunt in negative game scripts. I see this being probably a negative game script for most of the game. They're going to have to rely on him out of the backfield for quick passes, the dump off, check downs. I love it. So that's 3 for Kareem Hunt. Next one, we got Divine Operator. He's got a PPR lineup. He says, which 2 would you guys start? We got Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, or Allen Robinson.
I'm gonna go Mark Andrews and Allen Robinson. I know Robinson's been, not exactly what you expected, but now that Fields is under center for a second week, third week in a row, second week in a row, I think he's getting more comfortable. Lasers calling plays. I wouldn't be scared of Allen Robinson anymore. Oh, wait, Antonio Gibson too? I didn't hear that.
Yep, Gibson's on there as well.
Yeah, Gibson's got that injury, so with the shin. But that's why I didn't include TJ Hawkinson either, because he's dealing with an injury. I wasn't even sure if he was going to suit up today. Looks like he's going to. But to be safe, I'm a safe kind of guy when it comes to this early in the season. I just kind of want, some floor. So I'll go Mark Andrews and Allen Robinson still.
So Gibson scored 14 in a league last week, even with that, because he still had that shin injury last week as well. So 14 points in a 0.25 PPR. I'm not sure how many receptions he had last week, so probably more than that in PPR. So I'm still comfortable with Gibson just because I like running backs anytime that it's one that I know at least has a decent floor of some kind, and he definitely has a decent floor of some kind. It seems like with TJ Hawkinson, he's got that knee injury right now. He's banged up. They said that the knee injury is not structural. It's just that he keeps getting hit at the knees every time he gets the ball for some reason. After I read that report, I went back and watched the last 2 Lions games just to watch for it, and it's right. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Everybody's going at his knees, and I don't know if it's because he's such a big guy, but I can see where it's banged up. And they've also been targeting him a lot more. I mean, the defenses have been targeting him, not Jared Goff. So I think I'm going to agree with the Mark Andrews on this side. But I think I'm going to roll with Gibson as the other one.
You're muted.
Yeah, somebody had to do it finally, and it, of course, was going to be me. I feel like Gibson is the safer floor here as opposed to Allen Robinson, although I do expect Allen Robinson to actually have himself a pretty decent day-to-day. I feel like the safer floor is Gibson. I like Allen Robinson for the upside today, though, but I think I would, if it was me, I would be doing Andrews and Gibson myself. We got Dustin Hetrich. Need help with his running back slot. Does he stick with Miles Sanders, or should he start Latavius, Kenny Gainwell, or Nyheim Hines?
Who are they playing today?
So Nyheim Hines has the Ravens this week, and I can see that being a really nice game script for Nyheim Hines. I think between the 4 of them, I think he has the best floor, to be honest with you. And with Hines, if he has a decent floor, that usually means he gets 2 touchdowns. So honestly, and this might be me being a Colts fan, I really see this being a huge game for Nyheim Hines. So it's hard for me to pass up Hines in this situation because I am I'm a really conservative player when it comes to fantasy football, and I want the guy that has the highest floor, and I think he's got a really high floor this week.
Yeah, The other one I was going to mention was Latavius Murray. I don't know what Baltimore's going to do from week to week with the running backs. Like Tyson Williams was a healthy scratch last week, so that would took us all out of surprise because he was running probably the best out of all of them. But it seems that they trust Latavius more. But I don't know if that's going to be the case by Monday. So he's the only one I really advocate for. But otherwise, I'd probably just roll with Miles Sanders. I don't know if Gainwell's quite in guaranteed work in that offense yet. So and I think Zeke exposed the Carolina defense a little bit last week and showed that there are some holes in that that run defense. So I'd probably stick with Miles Sanders, but if I was to go with someone else, I'd probably say Murray. You're muted.
Okay,
again.
So for me, it is actually, I caught myself that time. For me, it was Nyheim Hines as well. I really like him today just because anytime I see him, just like Justin was saying, he's got a lot of opportunity. I really like Jonathan Taylor as well. I think that's going to be a pretty decently scored game. I think they're going to pretty much run all over Baltimore because everybody has been able to run all over Baltimore. So I want a piece of either one of those backfield. I think I'm going to stick with Nyheim Hines here myself. Next one up, we got T Slips at T_Slips. Pick one: Amari Cooper, Mixon, or Zach Moss, 12-man standard. And I'm going to go ahead and start this one off. And I really feel like Zach Moss has really been getting the job done as far as anything that we're wanting to see for fantasy coming out of that backfield. Singletary is kind of the afterthought, although he is still getting his volume and he's still a good change of pace guy. I never trust Amari Cooper. It's not week 6 yet. So until week 6, I can't start him because you got to give him a 5-week cool down anytime he has a 2-touchdown game. So, and then Mixon, I just, he could go out there and just re-injure himself and not want to play anymore and be done. I just can't gamble with that. And really, I've really liked what I've seen out of Zach Moss. I love it. So I'm going to be playing him. How about you guys?
I'm going to go with Zach Moss as well, just because, I've been on him as the starting running back for Buffalo since week 1. And when I found out after his healthy scratch in week 1 that it was most likely due to him being out past curfew the night before, I was still sold on it being Zach Moss after that. And he hasn't disappointed so far. They face Kansas City, who is one of the worst teams in the league against running backs. And if you watch their games, a lot of that has to do with catches out of the backfield late in the game when the other team's down anyway. And not that Kansas City has been blowing people out by any means, don't get me wrong, but that fourth quarter is big for receiving backs for garbage time at the end of the game. And I don't want to call it garbage time because a few of the games the other team's actually been in the game. They've just been behind on that last drive. And they let everything happen in the middle of the field, and that's where Zach Moss does all the damage. He's definitely going to have a better game than Devin Singletary again this week.
Yeah, especially in a standard league, I think Moss is definitely definitely has the safest floor because, like you said, with the Mixon injury, I'm trying to get off Mixon as many places as I can. I have him in a couple spots, and if I have anyone that's RB2 worthy, I'm trying to get him out because same thing. It's a sprained ankle, and just because it wasn't as bad of a sprain, that means that he feels better than he probably actually is, and he could go out, take one cut, and leave the game. And with Amari Cooper, he's dealing with the hamstring, and he's going up against James Bradbury today. He's going to be seeing him a lot, and he does not do well against top cornerbacks, especially like shadow corners like that, guys that are going to be all over him all day long. In his last 2 games with the Giants, he got 8 catches for like 64 yards between the 2 games. So I'm trying to sit Cooper as well. So I'm going to go Zach Moss as well. We'll take that one right across the board.
Excellent. And then we got Heat Fan 1010. He says Kenny Golladay versus Dallas or Josh Jacobs versus Chicago with the flex.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I'm gonna have to go with Kenny Golladay. Dallas has definitely been a better defense than they were last year, especially with Trayvon Diggs, out there just snatching balls out of the air. but I think Kenny Galladay's safer against Dallas than Jacobs is against Chicago. Chicago's started to turn on their defense again, and it started to look like 2018, 2019 Bears defense, and they have not been letting much go in the run game. So I'm going to go with Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, I think this one's close as well. I agree. This is a tough decision. So just for me personally, anytime that I think it's that close, I always lean towards the running back, just because traditionally speaking, there's more of a guarantee that running back's going to touch the ball more to give you more of an opportunity to get points. It would not surprise me if Galladay outscores him, but outscores Jacobs. But I'm going to go with the running back in this situation.
And I agree with that too. I think the running back's kind of the way to go. But in this instance, I feel like the way they've just been kind of disowning Josh Jacobs in the situation, and with him kind of coming back from an injury, I really like Kenny Galladay, because also having Sterling Shepard out and Darius Slayton, that kind of hurts the productivity of anybody else out there because they're not there. So I really like Kenny Galladay just for a volume play right here. I think that he actually does get more action than Josh Jacobs does himself. But I mean, it's tough. That's really close, and it really shouldn't be when we're talking running back receiver, especially on a volume play.
Can I ask you guys one? Since
absolutely.
I didn't think I had any for me personally, but since you guys are both kind of down on Amari Cooper, it's kind of got me wondering if I should start Nyheim Hines over Cooper. So Cooper against the Giants and Nyheim Hines Monday night against the Ravens.
I don't think I can do that.
No, I'd probably still stick with Cooper.
Okay.
Just because the upside is so much more with Cooper than Hines. Most likely Cooper definitely has a bigger chance to go off for two touchdowns, than Nyheim Hines would, unless you have a really, really stout rest of the lineup and you can, and you just want to be safe and make sure you get, because Nyheim Hines should. Yeah, see.
And as a matter of fact, Mike, this one. This is my Pirate League with Matt.
Nice.
Release the Kraken. So I've got my starting lineup is Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Darrell Henderson that already got me some good points, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Mike Williams, and then now Amari Cooper. That's my starting lineup.
Nah, I think it'd be fine. I'd stick with Cooper because then you get even more upside and secure that win.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to start your studs when you have them, and that's exactly why we draft them. My hatred of him will still never outweigh the knowledge that I just know he's good enough, man.
Yeah, hashtag good at football.
Good at football some weeks. We got at Ted and Ho _10. He's desperate, guys. He says, who does he start as his wide receiver 2 in his flex? He's got Ayuk, Tony, Javonte, Cook, and Moss.
Dalvin Cook?
I'm thinking Jared Cook.
That's got to be Jared Cook in order to be in this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So wide receiver 2.
One of them has to be a wide receiver and then a flex. So
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So for me, it's going to be Moss and Tony. Because Moss, we talked about him already. He's, definitely in line for a good game against Kansas City. They're not very good against the run. Stick with Moss for that flex. And I think Tony impressed me last week. He looked like a baller out there, man. He was breaking people's ankles. And because Shepard and Slayton are out again this week, I think Tony would be my play here because Ayuk, I can't trust. I don't know if they're actually going to use him. If they're not going to use him, he could literally goose egg you. I don't think Tony will, with the other receivers being out. So I'd go with Moss and Tony.
Yeah, in most situations, one good game for a rookie isn't going to be enough for me to say that I trust that guy. I still think there's a lot of questions with Tony, but there are so many questions with Ayuk right now that with this situation, I would say Tony. And then so really the flex is down to Javonte or Moss for me. And with Javonte, I think Javonte is going to get more of a workload today. I do believe that Gordon's injury is going to be just enough to give Javonte a little bit more of a workload. But So
Didn't he have that injury last week though?
He did. But he did, but he played on it, and I guess just from what I read, I believe it was yesterday, it said that they're anticipating cutting back his workload for this week because of it. Like it's a pain tolerance thing, and I guess maybe he's in more pain now, probably because he played on it last week. So, I mean, that's all assumptions. But even with that, I can't go against Moss against Kansas City. So,
Yeah.
I don't think that you're going to have a bad game with Javonte today. I think you have the potential of having a great game with Moss.
And that's exactly what I was kind of leaning towards too. I think Tony is definitely the wide receiver to play here. Ayuk, exactly. You just can't trust him. I mean, I would love to be able to. Until I see it out of Lance, I can't do it. Or even Garoppolo. I mean, it seems like they just both think he's non-existent on that offense so far. And then Zach Moss, yeah, man. I mean, we just went over it and over it that he is primed to have a big game. I want about every single piece I can get. I want Dawson Knox. I want Emmanuel Sanders. I think that game might be 145 to 142. You heard it here first. So
I'll take the under.
Okay. 10,000 to 1 odds? No, I'm just kidding. All right. So the next one we got at Seb Meets World. He says CEH or Josh Jacobs. And I really wanted to pull this one down because I was seeing a lot of stuff about Josh Jacobs out there. And I'm seeing a lot of CEH hatred. And I don't get it. I don't understand, man. This guy has been very productive this season. He's not getting it done in the end zone for you right now, right? But the amount of volume he's getting and the opportunity that he's getting, the numbers are going to follow. The touchdowns will follow CEH as long as he can keep up with the production that he's been getting. And Justin, I know you're a hater of CEH, so who would you take right here?
For me, I'm taking Josh Jacobs, and I'm willing to put a bathroom board bet on the board for this one with you, Mike, because I listened to the DFS show this week. Actually, I just listened to it last night, and while I agree with the majority of everything you have to say about CEH, the fact is he is not a goal line back, nor will he ever be. I can't assume that those touchdowns and those points on touchdowns are going to follow if I don't see it happen for myself first. Maybe it happens in year 3, like you're talking, maybe, but this isn't year 3. This is week 5 of year 2, and I haven't seen a damn thing that I like about him inside the 15-yard line at all. And last week, that little shovel pass almost still got stuffed at the 1-yard line. And that's the shovel pass where they score every single time they do it. And he still almost screwed it up. So I'm not saying that it was his fault necessarily. Maybe it was a timing thing. Maybe Mahomes shouldn't have tossed it because the linebacker was right there on him. My point is maybe he couldn't hide it as much, or there's got to be a reason he's not scoring touchdowns. But one of the two guys in this scenario between CEH and Josh Jacobs, one of them does find the end zone on a pretty regular basis, and that's Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs in this one.
Yeah, I actually have this same dilemma in one of my leagues, and I don't know exactly which way I want to go.
Hey, it's okay to just be straight up and say, hey, this question is for me. You don't have to make up fake Twitter accounts.
Yeah. Well,
I do it a lot.
If I was actually submitting it, I would have put in the other flex. I have Tyler Boyd and Marvin Jones that I can play in the flex too. It's a whole big mess. But anyway, CH just scares me this week because they're playing Buffalo. That's my only concern with them. They have been stuffing the stuff up the middle, and he's really good on the inside zone, especially he's looked great now that his ankle's healed up. He had that ankle sprain in the middle of the preseason. And I think that's why it looked like he was hampered and didn't quite trust it like week 1 and 2. And then week 3 and week 4, he's decisive. He's cutting better. He has that acceleration once he hits the hole and gets to that second level in the defense. But I think I'm going to have to go with CH just because I think he's got, I want as many pieces from that game as possible, because no matter what, both teams are going to be on the field, both ways a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth down the field, big explosive plays. So I just think there's way more opportunity in that game for scoring and for opportunities and everything else. I think there's going to be a ton of plays in that game as well. So I'm going to have to go with CEH.
And that's absolutely fair.
I'm
Yeah,
glad I
but
got
see-
to talk that out because now I'm gonna go change my lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, CEH for the volume play. Again, I think if I'm talking about a fully healthy Josh Jacobs right here, I think I do agree with you, Justin. I mean, to me, if you've listened to me, I've always said it that he's not going to be the guy this year. I think you're not going to really ever see him be a goal line back, but I really don't think that Kansas City is a goal line team. I don't think that they really have ever had the answer for the goal line outside of those quick slants and shovel passes and dump passes and things like that, which I feel like CEH is just perfectly adequate for, especially on a quick screen, something to that effect. So I think that we're both kind of saying the same thing about his future there, because I do not think he is a goal line back, but I also think that that's probably not why Patrick Mahomes was so high into getting him up on there. So the next question we got is from Quinn Conroy. He says, yo, who should I sit for tomorrow between Chase Edmonds, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase? He's thinking of Joe Mixon. Let me know. I think that's what LMK means, right? To all you young children out there.
Yep,
Let me know.
That's what it means. Well, I'm definitely not going to sit Jamar Chase going against the Packers. They're going to have to throw. I like that matchup a lot. That's a locked and loaded for me. Now, both Chase Edmonds and Joe Mixon are hurt right now. Is there an update on Edmonds? They said he was going to be a game time decision. I don't think I've seen anything yet. But if they're both hurt, but Chase isn't a lower. I don't think it's like a knee or an ankle or anything. I think was his shoulder or something. Which
he is expected to play.
He's expected to play. Well, so is Joe Mixon, though. So
right.
that's tough with the injuries, man.
Well, doesn't really tell us much.
No, I'll go Chase Edmonds though, because I don't like the ankle sprain for Joe Mixon. That he likes to cut. He likes to he needs those moves, and without the moves, I just don't know how effective he'll really be. So I'm gonna go Chase Edmonds.
And I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna actually bench Chase Edmonds here because I've just noticed it seems like they go with James Conner anytime they're inside the 10-yard line. So he kind of is hampered on the touchdown upside. Chase Edmonds is, and if you throw in the injury with that as well, but clearly Clearly, it looks like I'm more of a Joe Mixon guy right now than I typically normally am, because I normally don't really go for Mixon all too much, but because it's asking which one to sit, so I'm going to go with Edmonds.
And it's tough for me because I just don't know how much I want to stack my Bengals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I like that game, but I don't know if I like that game enough to where I want to be throwing 2 or 3 players at it. So I might hedge my bets and just go with Jamar Chase and Chase Edmonds in this myself. Yeah. Although I don't mind Joe Mixon and Chase Edmonds just because of the volume play. But I mean, Jamar Chase has just been getting too involved for me to kind of ignore that. And I don't see today being any different. Like Alex said, I think there's going to be a lot of passing going on in that game. And until I see otherwise, let's keep Jamar Chase going on out there. From the comments, we got Sleek asking, he says, full PPR, pick 2, Chuba Hubbard, Josh Jacobs, or Marv Jones Jr.?
I'm going to go definitely Marvin Jones. I think Tennessee's been like the worst against wide receivers. The Jaguars looked pretty good last week. Trevor Lawrence actually looked a lot better than he did in the first 3 weeks and Chuba and Josh Jacobs. See, I don't know. I don't think Hubbard's very good. So I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs and Marvin Jones. For reasons we said before, Josh Jacobs likes the end zone. He's got a nose for it. And if they can get if they can get up on the Bears and get that the winning game script, that's when they really just hand it to him 20 times and march down the field, take some time off the clock. So I'm going to go with Marvin Jones and Josh Jacobs.
Give me the running backs. I want both of the running backs here. The Marvin Jones, I like the thought of Marvin Jones, but some guys just are not meant to be the guy, and I just don't see him as the guy. I've always viewed him as a role player, a backup guy, but a guy that has his moments when he's not he's not the guy. And it just seems like right now with all the injuries, they kind of need him to be the guy, and I'm not sure he can do that. So, give me the running backs, give me the guaranteed workload, and but I do agree with you though, Alex, that game script for Marvin Jones is tasty. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot, so I very likely will be wrong on this one. I just personally I can't trust Marvin Jones.
I can totally understand the whole Marvin Jones. I just feel like that the volume play is going to be on him. I like Chuba Hubbard. He's going to be. I think he's going to be pretty awesome today. Josh Jacobs just is kind of out on the fence for me just because of the injury, the Kenyon Drake usage and things to that effect. I'm just kind of backed out on until I see otherwise. Right? I've got to see Josh Jacobs coming back to the full form that I like to see Josh Jacobs in, which I just haven't seen in the usage that, I knew Kenyon Drake was going to eat into this, but I didn't feel like it was going to eat into this as much as it did. So, I just can't rely on Josh Jacobs right now until I see Gruden pull his head out and actually use his better running back than he does. Dustin Hetritz is checking in, man. We answered your question earlier. We landed on, I believe, Nyheim Hines. Did we not, guys?
I said Miles Sanders. I was going to stick with Sanders. And if you wanted to get away from Sanders, Latavius Murray for me. I think both of you guys were Nyheim Hines, though. That's it.
That is correct. Yep. So, and that's the reasoning behind it, right? We just see Nyheim Hines being big today. He's slated for a pretty mild day, which should be your Nyheim Hines indicator to play him.
Well, plus, also, if it's this close, you kind of want that Monday night primetime matchup to give you that Monday night action. But also, my second was also Latavius Murray because I kind of feel like he is the go-to guy there. I think he's going to be the number one back, and I've said that all along. Like I was saying that whenever the Saints cut Latavius Murray, as soon as they cut Latavius and they had all those injuries in Baltimore before Baltimore even signed him, it was like Latavius is going to be the number one running back for Baltimore. And they had that healthy scratch for Williams last week so that they could give Le'Veon a chance. And then Le'Veon had like 3 touches and they sent him back to the scout team again. So I do think that Williams is going to be back. I don't know how effective he's going to be, but I think they're going to give the load to Latavius. But because of the game script and the style of the Colts, I really like Hines this week.
I just don't really know what football Harbaugh's watching that I'm not, because Tyson Williams, man, 6.1 yards per carry, is pretty damn good for an NFL running back, in my opinion. And why aren't they giving this guy the football more? But
because it's his pass blocking. The guy can't pass block to save his life.
This is fair. So for me, you can shift Latavius Murray in there enough to where I'm going to still want this guy as my first and third back. And that is at least teachable week to week, and that is something the guy can get better at during the season. It doesn't have to be an off-season address.
I agree. Long term, I love Williams. Don't give up on him just because they're giving up on him right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well said. We got Mike J. Smith, 32. He says, who should he start in place of Calvin Ridley today? Devontae Parker or Hunter Renfrow? He also has Curtis Samuel, but he doesn't trust him, and I don't trust him either.
Traditionally, I don't trust any of those three, but he does have a tough dilemma because Parker and Renfrow both are actually seeing a lot of action. But I kind of like the Hunter Renfrow. You know what? After that big hit that he had on special teams, you see that grit. Like if I'm Derek Carr, I'm giving him the ball as much as I can humanly give him the ball because that boy obviously he just wants to play football. So give him the ball. So I'll start Hunter off of just based off of that special teams hit because this is a tie for me either way. So let's give the guy with the grit the go.
Well, to make it a little easier, Devontae Parker's not playing today. So
I was right.
But if Parker was playing, I probably would have gone him. But I like Hunter Renfrow too, so I would go Hunter Renfrow over Curtis Samuel.
Definitely.
So
that's not even a point for it.
Yeah, especially if it's PPR. Hunter Renfrow's been getting he's been consistent. He's been 10 to like 13 points. Yeah, and I have him on like a deep dynasty roster that I picked him up. I drafted him in his rookie year, and he's just been sitting on my bench this whole time. And finally this year I was like, oh, I didn't even see you sitting down here. I was like, I could put you right in that lineup right there. And it's been nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I should probably look at these updates as we're recording, right?
Why would you? Who should I start in the flex this week? J.D. McKissick if he starts ahead of Gibson, Chuba Hubbard, or Marquise Brown? It's half PPR.
I mean, Gibson is playing, but JD is still tempting here, even with Gibson playing because of the shin injury. So I still think that it's close. Obviously, if Gibson wasn't playing, that would have been a no-brainer. And Marquise Brown has been showing some stuff lately. So
this is a tough one.
Again, though, give me the running back. Give me the guy that I know is going to see a lot of action. For now, I'm going to say Chuba, but I want to see – or Chuba, sorry. But I want to see Chuba, whatever you say. But I want to see if Alex can change my mind because he's usually pretty good at words and shit.
I'm going to go Hubbard and Marquise Brown here. I like J.D. McKissick with the Gibson injury, but if Gibson's out there, I'm assuming they didn't make any indication. I don't even think he has a designation going into the game. So I think he's going to maintain his workload. So I'd probably go Hubbard and Marquise Brown. And Marquise Brown has been, if he would have had a huge week last week if he wouldn't have, dropped those 3 long bombs, and that they're clearly using them. Yeah, and does Bateman come back this week? Is he playing?
Possibly, most likely he's probably at least going to make a debut. I don't know how effective he's going to be, but I also did not see that. Who should I start my play? Does it say that he needs 2?
No, it's just the one, just the flex.
Oh yeah, I don't know why we went 2.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with Hubbard. He's playing a pretty weak run defense there with Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Marquise Brown then. I think he's.
It's on you, Mike.
Oh, good, because I was going to talk about how good J.D. McKissick is in my lineup today. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, for me, it's also Chuba. I think that he's. I like the volume he should see today over. Now Marquise Brown, like I really do like his usage, and I really feel like he's starting to key into the ball. I think it was a couple of weeks ago that he had the 3 drops, and I think he finally nailed one last week.
Oh, that's yeah.
But so I see that I feel like Lamar Jackson might trust him a little bit more and more. But I tell you what, he's probably 1 or 2 drops away from being dropped on that team, because he was getting the look from Lamar each time they were heading down to the sidelines. Like, dude, like he couldn't have painted that picture any better or laid that in there any better. And it just went through his hands that 3 times. That's ridiculous. So I do like me some Marquise Brown, but I do like I'm with Justin. I like 0 risk. I like to win. I like to get the volume. I'm going with Chuba Hubbard. We got Zach Lowe. He says Hubbard, Damian Williams, or Cordarrelle Patterson in the flex. And so Cordarrelle's a little bit late, but
I would have gone Cordarrelle Patterson.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could consider starting him at this or sitting him at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like he's just tearing it up. Like I actually didn't play him until this week. I had him in one league. It's like a 10-team league, so I got a pretty stacked lineup. And finally, I was like, I'm gonna sit someone for him. I think I'm sitting Mixon for him because I'm like, I want this guy in my freaking lineup. He's getting 30 points on my bench, last 3 weeks or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know how you could sit Patterson at this point.
Yep. Yeah. Nope. I actually was playing him in my Jolly Rogers last week. Go ahead, Justin.
In your Jolly Rogers.
Yep.
you mean the fantasy league that we're in? Okay,
yep.
Gotcha. Exactly what you meant by your Jolly Rogers there, but yeah, and I agree too. I would have went with Patterson, and Patterson already to this point in the game has 76 yards. He is cleared to return from his concussion. I haven't been able to really watch the game. Doing this, I don't know if he's come back or not, but evidently it wasn't a concussion, so that's good news. But if for whatever reason you benched him, I think if you're down to Hubbard or Damian Williams, I'm going to go with Damian Williams here without any other real competition in that backfield. At this point, you've already made the mistake of not starting Patterson, so don't make another mistake and start the clear cut breadwinner in that backfield for this week.
I second that. If you did sit Cordero Patterson, go with Damian Williams.
See, and I'm the opposite. I don't like Damian Williams in any of my lineups. I'm going Hubbard there, but definitely 2 for 3. Go for Damian Williams.
That's fine. I'm sure Damian Williams doesn't like you either.
He doesn't. He actually tweeted that one time. I hate dirty jobs.
Yeah.
But I think he was talking about his actual what he had to do that day. At Zach Lowe also asks, did Antonio Brown or Devonta Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
I get one of those every week. Yes. Start them both.
Right.
Yeah, that would be nice if you could start them both. That's a toughie. I'm thinking Antonio Brown, though. He's been seeing a lot of looks. So is Devonta Smith. I think I just trust Brady and Antonio Brown more than Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith at this point. Devonta Smith looks like a baller out there. He gets wide open. He's making great catches. He's getting the yards, but I think I trust the Brady Brown connection more. So I'd probably go with Brown.
I think I'm going to look at the matchups more in this one, since I do really kind of like them both, and Smith is going against that Panthers defense, and while I do agree that the Cowboys did expose them a bit last week, it was also a really good Cowboys offense. I think they're going to expose a lot more defenses than most offenses can, and I don't think the Eagles are at that point with their offense to take full advantage of that. That secondary is still a really good secondary, so I think I'm going to lean towards Antonio Brown in this one as well, going against Miami, who is a little bit in the secondary, at least considerably not as good as the Panthers secondary right now.
Do you guys think Stephon Gilmore is going to play this week for the Panthers?
See, I don't know, but I also don't know that it really matters all that much. Like, I think Gilmore's going to make that defense better, but I don't think he immediately makes it that much better. Like, it's going to take time to learn that defense, and maybe they get him out there a little bit. It would be interesting to see, like, from a fan standpoint, but from a fantasy standpoint, I don't know that it really matters a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, I bet they'll work him in a little bit just to get his feet out there, with the team, and see how it goes. But
for what it's worth, he's one of those types of players where I'm glad he's no longer a Patriot, so I can finally start rooting for him as a player. I love the dude as a player, but I can't root for you if you're a Patriot, right?
That's fair. Actually, that's a very fair statement there.
Ooh, we almost had a touchdown. We're down inside the 2 now at this point.
Yeah,
Ty Johnson got it down to the 1 from the 2.
Let's get a Michael Carter touchdown right here.
He was the back for the in between the 20s. He just came out.
There you go. And now I also like Devonta Smith. I don't think you could ignore him, although I do like Antonio Brown today too. But I feel like they're gonna be playing from behind. They're gonna have to use Devonta Smith, who is really good at separation, like you were pointing out, and that's a really big deal in this kind of league. So we got at Better Pass 24 says, with injuries in the receiving core of the Giants, Teddy B or Daniel Jones?
Touchdown, Ty Johnson.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Teddy B or Daniel Jones? I'm gonna sit Daniel Jones and go with Teddy B. I think that they're going against Pittsburgh, so it's going to be a little bit tougher, but Teddy can move it down the field. I think he's got the better floor today, honestly, because this Daniel Jones going against the Cowboys have been making plays. Like, I see at least one interception, there for him, and they've been getting to the quarterbacks in the backfield. He doesn't really deal well with the pressure. So I think, Micah Parsons coming off the edge is going to be tough for him. So I'm going to go Teddy B, because I think Daniel Jones has a big, the Daniel Jones we know game, and just make a bunch of mistakes. So
I agree. Actually, I think I'll take it a step further. I'll say that I think Daniel Jones is going to have 3 turnovers, and he's going to get sacked probably 5 times. But I still think he's going to be a top 6 quarterback this week, just because of how much they're going to have to throw. And if there is a bad part of that defense, it is that Dallas secondary. Right now, they rank 28th in the league in yards against. So they give up chunk plays. They give up a lot of deep passes, and that's because of that the way they like to blitz so much with that linebacking core. It really helps open up that secondary. So if Jones can get a pass off, he'll get chunk yards, and then if they happen to get in the end zone, then great. But also he can make moves with his feet as well. I just don't think that Teddy B has the weapons around him right now, especially with all the injuries, to be able to do a whole lot against the Steelers. Even though the Steelers defense isn't as great as we thought they were going to be this season, they're still pretty solid. So I think I'm going to go with Daniel Jones, even though I agree that he's going to have a crap game from an NFL standpoint. I just think he's going to have a good game fantasy-wise.
Yeah, I like Daniel Jones today. Although I do – Teddy Bridgewater, the thing that worries me about him is if he just
his ability
coming off of a concussion and everything like that, they might just try to keep this ball on the ground for quite a bit of the game, try to manage the game clock, which Teddy Bridgewater is really, really good at. I can see this being very low volume. Cortland Sutton being a completely game time decision. I mean, they're thinning out of weapons over there. I do like Tim Patrick and Noah Fant today. But man, it's hard not to like Javonte Williams and Gordon, because I feel like that's going to be the way they're going to be leaning most of this game. And for that reason right there, and I feel like Daniel Jones, I mean, this is a divisional game. It's going to have to be a shootout. He's going to have to use that arm and legs as much as he possibly can. So I'm always going to try to lean towards the volume play. And for me, it's Daniel Jones.
And for what it's worth, Albert O is on IR for at least the next 3 weeks. Yeah. I know it doesn't seem like much, but that's 2.5 targets per game that easily could go to Fant. Obviously, we don't automatically replace targets directly to another player. It might be distributed, but Noah Fant might have a little bit more opportunity here. So if you do have Fant and you're kind of teetering on whether or not you're going to start him the next few weeks, I would definitely start him. Unless you have one of those top-notch tight ends around him. So I know that's off subject for what we're talking about, but a lot of people, Albert O kind of flies under the radar because you don't really think of him as being fantasy relevant. But when he's out, it could make other things fantasy relevant. So it's just something to think about.
Yeah, and I'm going to change my answer. You guys talked me into it. I forgot Fant tweaked his ankle on Friday, or not Fant, Sutton tweaked his ankle on Friday at practice. So I think Daniel Jones is the play as well.
Yeah, it's truly a game time decision. I know that I like Tim Patrick with Teddy Bridgewater back out there anyways. But now that they're just down to nobody, Noah Fant and Tim Patrick are going to be, or should see at least the lion's share of the passing attack over there. Like I said, man, they're running out of people. We got Trey S. He says, morning, gents. He's got a couple of questions.
Morning.
PPR. Morning. Full PPR. Choose two. We got Galladay, Boyd, Allen Robinson, or Connor. And then he also has Carr, Tannehill, or Lance. And then he says, thank you, guys.
Okay. Wow, there's a lot to digest here. So
I'll start off real quick if you want me to.
Okay.
I'm going to go Lance. That's definitely the play for me. I'm trying to start up Lance everywhere I can if I have him. It's a pretty good matchup. It's going to be playing against Arizona. You're going to have to put up points. So he's going to have to put up or shut up. So I like the spot there for Lance. And then for the other one, that one's a little tougher. I really need James Conner to not go off today just because I play against him in a bunch of leagues. But with Chase Edmonds being a little hurt, I think he's a pretty good play today. But that one's a lot tougher. I like Boyd because of the game script. Allen Robinson, I think, is going to get his today. But I'd probably go with James Conner. And I think it's kind of, pick your poison with the other three. I think they all have about the same opportunity, about the same upside in these games. Boyd's probably the odd man out because with T. Higgins coming back, it's probably be a lot of Chase and Higgins. Boyd might just be the possession guy and kind of, be there for when they need him to move the sticks. So I think I go Allen Robinson though. I think this is his, bounce back. So Allen Robinson, James Conner, Trey Lance, book it.
So I have to choose two of that mess. And again, I'm going to go with the running back if it's this close. So James Conner is my lock there. I think I'm going to go with Galladay as the other one because we just got through talking about how we think that Daniel Jones has real potential to have a huge fantasy week. That means somebody's got to be on the receiving end of those deep balls. That's what she said. And so Galladay is probably going to be one of those guys. So I feel like Galladay's, and then Carr, Tannehill, and Lance. I mean, we see it like all the time where a backup comes in to the game and has an incredible game like Trey Lance had against the Seahawks, because the Seahawks defense was planning all week for Jimmy Garoppolo. They weren't planning for Trey Lance. Not that makes a huge difference in some cases, but I think it can in this situation because they are two different quarterback styles. So a week of preparing for Trey Lance, and I think I'm going to give the edge to Tannehill going against Jacksonville. I just like the matchup, and I'm a more conservative player, just like I said before. So I could definitely see the upside in Trey Lance, but I think that Tannehill has the higher floor because of the matchup. And so I'm going to go with Tannehill, Galladay, and James Conner.
And I can almost agree with most of what you just said right there. I do like Galladay and Robinson as your receivers right here. I don't really like anything I've been seeing out of Connor. I mean, he's been getting used in the red zone, which is awesome. But then you start dropping out them touchdowns, and he's just zero. And Boyd with Chase sitting out there and Higgins possibly coming back, I still can't get behind that either. So for me, it's Galladay and Robinson. And I agree with Tannehill. Now, there's one thing I really liked what I saw out of Trey Lance. I really, really did. But I just can't trust rookie quarterbacks, man. They never come out and they never show out like the way we want them to. It takes a long time to adapt to the NFL. Defensive coordinators eat film like that for breakfast, and they probably have a game plan ready for Trey Lance. He's not ready for. He's going to have to adapt at the line. Things that just make it really, really hard for a rookie to succeed, which is why they are rookies. So for me, Tannehill's the safer bet, although I'm very excited to see what I'm going to see out of Trey Lance. We got Luke Munster saying Edmonds or Waddle PPR.
That's Waddle for me. He's been getting highly targeted in that offense, even with Jacoby Brissett back there. So in PPR, he's been, showing up pretty good on that stat sheet. Because Edmonds, I'm still not sure with that injury. Like I said, I think it's a shoulder injury. I gotta check that real quick, but yeah, shoulder injury. So that he's a smaller guy. He takes one good shot, and he could be out for the game as well. So I'm gonna go with Waddle, and especially because that's gonna be against Tampa Bay, and their secondary is bleak right now. They had to sign Richard Sherman off the street and start him last week. So I like Waddle in this spot.
So as usual, if it's close, give me the running back. So in this case, give me Waddle. I don't even really think it's all that close.
That was great. I was like, are you really going to go Edmonds here?
Because like I said, inside the red zone, they've been leaning a lot more towards James Conner anyway. Edmonds has that injury risk, and now without Parker, give me Waddle.
You're muted. That's 3 times today.
3 times today. So I keep on switching screens there. For me, it's Waddle as well. I think Edmonds is a fun play for week to weeks, and this week he ought to be pretty decent, especially in my flex. But Waddle's just been getting used on that offense, and he deserves those targets. I would like Waddle a little bit more if Tua was out there, but here we are, and I still want Waddle for sure. Okay, we'll cut that one down, and then we'll go to the next one here. Jordan, he says matchups, injury situations, lack of touches equals a bunch of fun deciding who to start as his running back to. Who we got, guys? Gibson, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, or Javonte Williams?
Well, Cook is playing, so that automatically knocks out Madison in my mind. Cook will have a few plays where he gets hurt and comes and sits out for a few plays, but I don't think that that's going to warrant enough. So that knocks Madison out for me, because of what's going on in Philadelphia and how much better Gainwell has been playing. I think that kind of knocks him out. I'm going to go with Gibson and Williams. I do think that Javonte Williams gets an uptick in looks today. So So I'm going to go with Gibson and Williams.
You need one.
Well, no. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
it's easy to narrow it down to two of them.
It at least that actually would have made it a lot easier had I known, because to me, Gibson is the no-brainer out of the four.
Yeah, I'm with you too with the Gibson. I know he's got that, stress fracture, which that kind of scares me because, the nature of the injury, it's just like a crack on his bone.
Mm-hmm.
So, any more trauma to it, especially on the front of your leg like that, it could worsen and they could pull him, but, or it could, straight up break too with a big enough hit because it's already, weakened.
Right.
But I'm going to go with Gibson too. I think he's got the higher floor and higher upside, even if with Melvin sitting, Denver's still playing Pittsburgh, so I think running's it's going to be tough treading for him. So Gibson for me.
And I'm with you guys there. I like Gibson there, just because of but man, I really like me some Javonte Williams really, really bad today too. Just because, like I was saying earlier about the Teddy Bridgewater situation. And again, I understand it's a concussion coming back from it, so that's not really an injury risk or anything like that. But a lot of times you have coaches play it a lot safer with their with what they're going to do and how much they're going to risk that quarterback. But still, get Gibson out there, man. The guy's been getting it done. Let's not stop him now. We got Super Duper Coop says flex one, half PPR. Connor, Latavius Murray, or Gesicki?
I'm going to have to go with Connor. With the Edmonds injury, he's been getting the red zone usage. I know if he doesn't, hit the pay dirt, it could end up being a lot of nothing. But Latavius Murray could get 5 touches too, because they just keep playing the runaround in that Ravens backfield. But Murray's definitely a close second to me. I think Gesicki's out on a limb. But a lot of those pass catches are out, so maybe that does make it a little bit closer. But I think I'm going to stick with Connor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Connor here as well. While I do think that Latavius Murray has a pretty solid game, I just don't see the 49ers being able to keep up with the Cardinals. So it should be a good game script for the Cardinals and Connor in that backfield. So, and again, just like Alex said, with Edmonds' injury, they're probably going to go more with Connor anyway, especially when the game is kind of out of hand. Gesicki's a decent play here this week, but it's hard for me to start a tight end over a running back in a flex spot unless it's a top-notch tight end. So I'm gonna lean towards Connor.
Are you slandering Gesicki? He's a top.
He's top 5, which is 3 for 33.
Okay, well, if you're a top 5 tight end in fantasy, you're still 2 away from being top-notch.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. For me, I agree with both your guys' takes on Connor, although for me, Latavius Murray's the guy to play because for some reason Harbaugh's an idiot and doesn't play the right people. Since he's going to be playing the wrong guy right there, I guess I'll start the wrong guy in Latavius Murray, but that's 2-1 for Connor. We got Woody the Badger saying Thielen or Chase PPR.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Chase, though. I think Justin Jefferson's finally started to show up, and he's definitely the number 1 target. Thielen, is Kirk's go-to guy, but I think Chase is brilliant out there on the field, man. Dude, he is open. He is catching tough balls. He's getting in the end zone. The Bengals are going to have to score against the Packers. They're going to have to score touchdowns against the Packers to even have a chance. So I'm going to go with Chase.
And I was chatting with you guys in the background, so let me take a look at something here. Oh man, this one is tough. I'm going to go with Thielen. I think that they bounce back this week. That offense really let me down last week. I don't know what happened, but I don't think that Thielen and Jefferson necessarily take away from each other necessarily. I think they both kind of help open each other up. One of them is always going to have a really good game, and the other one's just going to have a decent game. And then weeks like last week, I guess, could still happen where they surprise you. But most weeks, it's hard for me to bench a guy like Adam Thielen. So especially in PPR. He is usually the go-to guy for Cousins. So I'm going to go with Thielen.
And for me, it's also Jamar Chase. I think Thielen is kind of the guy that taken on that Stephon Diggs role, and Justin Jefferson's kind of assumed his role as the wide receiver one to look for on that team. I think you're going to see him get, the 7 to 10 to 15 targets up there, whereas we used to be seeing that with Adam Thielen. And I think Thielen's kind of dropped down to where it's kind of closer, like to the 5 to 3 mark, somewhere in there, unfortunately, which I do love Adam Thielen. And while I love Adam Thielen, I just don't see it happening that much rest of season as far as that goes. Anything over 7 targets a game anyway. So I got to lean on this one. Yes.
Dalvin Cook is inactive.
Oh, Dalvin Cook is inactive. Wow, man. That's a hammer.
Cortland Sutton, Antonio Gibson are both active. Gio Bernard comes back this week, so that's not a big deal.
That definitely does.
Do you have that one with Madison?
TJ Hawkinson, Joe Mixon are both active. Let's see. I believe that's everyone so far.
This one right there, bud. So this is the one that had the Madison. Would we change our mind now with Gibson, Miles Sanders, and Javonte Williams?
We're still only choosing one?
Yes. Still Gibson for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Madison here with the Cook out. They're playing Detroit. Gibson with the injury, and they're also they're playing New Orleans, which is a good run defense. The Washington football team is. I think I'd pivot to Madison with Cook being inactive completely, knowing he's going to be in there getting the majority of the work. He looked pretty good the other 2 weeks ago when he played when Cook was out. So I'm going to pivot to Madison.
So right now, the Detroit Lions are the worst team in the league against the run. And traditionally speaking, after 4 weeks, it's hard to say, and there's so many other variables that get thrown in there. And, it's also just a number. We don't know the schedule, but it's the freaking Lions. They legit are the worst team in the league against the run. I can promise you. So I think I'm going to go with Madison as well. I'm going to shift fire here because I think they still utilize J.D. McKissick any chance they get to help with some of that stress fracture. I might be having a stroke here, guys.
Stress fracture.
Did you say shit fire before that too?
Yeah,
You're gonna shit fire.
I said shift fire. It's a military term. I wonder why you were laughing.
I was like, did this guy just say he's gonna shit fire? I'm like, bam. Like, testify, my brother.
No, I'm shifting fire, which means I was going in this direction for Gibson, and now I'm going over I think I was going with Javonte. Well, I don't forget, but I'm going with Madison.
There you go. Excellent. We got Vade134 says RB2 in a flex. James Robinson, Gibson, Edmonds, or Hunt.
Ooh. Definitely Hunt. He's going to be my RB2. And then it's pretty close to me between Robinson and Gibson. I think I'm going to have to go Gibson, though. That Jaguars organization is a little dysfunctional. I think Tennessee is not great against the run, but I think Tennessee is going to try to run a lot of the clock off with Derrick Henry, just run him down. So they'll probably have to score faster. I don't know. I'm kind of just making excuses now.
I imagine Urban Meyer got to spend plenty of time looking at film this week and wanted to stay as far away from home as humanly possible. And hopefully one thing that he picked up off film this week is that when they hand James Robinson the ball, good things happen. When they give him a good, healthy, consistent volume of production, he's able to do a lot with it, and he's able to help your team score and win football games. Now, if he could just figure out how to get himself out of that jam and just so he can focus on football for a quick minute, he might be able to see that. I'm Robinson and Hunt. I feel like he's had the time. He's had to have seen what we've all seen there. And I think we're going to see, I don't think we're going to see anything over 20 touches, but I think we could see 18 touches out of James Robinson today. And Hunt, RB2, that's not even close. He's in there.
Yeah, and before I answer, is that Olamide guy even in this godforsaken game at all? It's like, is he even playing? Did he even play? Did he decide to just take a ship across the ocean to go play in this game, and he's still halfway across the Atlantic right now?
You got practice squatted.
Man, I totally screwed up.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Tajay Sharp and Christian Blake and Hayden Hurst.
So Vade also adds, he says, since Cook's out, he also needs an RB1. So we're only sitting one of these guys. Who are we sitting?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Sid Edmonds. That makes
that makes
so
it
much
way
easier.
Yep. Sid Edmonds for me too.
I was gonna say Hunt and J Rob for what it's worth, but yeah, you're still solid even without Cook. Great job in your draft. Great job going after running backs heavily, and that's why you do it.
Oh, fumble by Davis.
Oh, that ain't
That's
good.
why you should have given it to Zacchaeus, because he's clearly a stud player.
At the big DIC or DLC says, needs to start one in full PPR. Galladay, Crowder, or Allen Robinson. Yes, I'm aware of what that says, DLC.
Yeah, I honestly almost 100% guarantee you that's an I.
Yeah.
I know.
So start one in a full PPR. Full PPR. Well, Crowder's already playing now, so we kind of honestly that might have been the way that I leaned, but without knowing what you chose. If you did not choose Crowder, then I'm going to go with Galladay again because of that big fantasy game that we think the Giants could potentially have. As much as I love Allen Robinson, until I see it, I do think it'll get better now with Fields, but I have to see it on the field first. No pun intended.
Yeah,
right. No, and that's fair.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right. No, you go ahead.
Crowder definitely would have been not the play for me, so hopefully you didn't play him today. But we've had a lot of these Galladay, Allen Robinson, kind of underperforming alpha wide receivers out there. And so that's a tough one for me. Like I said, I think Robinson's, going to have a little bounce back here. But I think Galladay's really the only guy outside of Tony and Ingram, and I don't really like Ingram. So yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one, but I'm gonna. Oh man, I'm gonna have to lean Allen Robinson. I'm pretty sure that's the way I've been going all morning, so I'm gonna stick with my guns.
Same here. I think Allen Robinson has himself I think he has himself a redemption day. You can't keep receivers like him down. Here we go again. I said the same thing with Robert Woods on Thursday, and he actually had himself a pretty decent game, although he wasn't able to find the end zone. I feel like we can see Galladay having again, they're going to be in a game where they're probably likely behind by maybe one or two scores fairly fast. So It's going to have to be getting the ball out there quick. I also would have said this even if it was at 6:00 this morning before Crowder played. Allen Robinson for me today.
So for what it's worth, Chase Claypool is active today, and Teddy Bridgewater is officially active. Christian McCaffrey is officially out, which we kind of expected, but they did make it official. So that's the last three updates I got.
Good. I'm glad they're letting McCaffrey sit. I'd rather him sit the extra week than come back early. I have him in too many places to see him come back and do the same thing he did last year and kind of play but not play, then re-injure, and then.
I only have 2 out of the 19 shares of him, so but I still agree. Let him sit. Let's take advantage of a healthy McCaffrey later.
It's more fun watching football with Christian McCaffrey healthy. So
it's also more fun to say Chuba Hubbard.
Yep, Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba
Okay, guys. Well, that wraps it up for the questions. We got everything caught up on the live action screen. So we're going to go ahead and watch the rest of this football game like the rest of you guys. Good luck to you. Make sure you go to toiletstotitles.com. Join our Patreon. $10 a month gets you in my pocket, gets Justin in your pocket, gets Alex in your pocket, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe not us 24 hours, but even if it's 2:00 in the morning and you're drunk and you want to make a crazy decision, You got people from down under covering your back, like our guys Ben and Matt that are on every week as well. They'll get you covered at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, we never sleep. So we're here for your fantasy every minute. Wow, that was a loud
That was
bing.
really loud.
Change their fire alarm or something to that effect.
My son just texted me.
Oh, is that goodness sakes, man? You need to change your phone tone.
It's connected. It's Apple, so it's connected to my Apple computer. So my computer actually is what the ding was. So
gotcha. Still ear piercing. So, well, good luck, you guys. Week 5, let's get it done, and we will see you guys next week. Good luck.
Later.